What's going on, everybody? It is SoCalExploring back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Universal Monsters and what we know, the whole breakdown of the maze, what movies are going to be featured in it. If you weren't at the Scare panel, you don't know about the actual layout of the maze, so I'm going to break it down in a 10 to 15 minute video and talk about everything that's going to be featured in it, all the movies that are going to be featured in it, and just everything in general, just basically a whole recap of the panel. So if you want to know about the facts about this maze and how it's gonna be laid out and everything, then make sure to stay tuned to this video. If not, click that like and then leave the video. But guys, with that being said, let's get right into the video. So all the pictures that I'm gonna be using are from HHN Mannix on Twitter. I'm stealing all his pictures, but go follow him. All the pictures that you'll see on the screen today are from Justin HHN Mannix, so make sure to go follow him. So the movies that will be featured in Universal Monsters are The Phantom of the Opera, Dracula, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, and The Wolfman. So those are going to be the movies that are featured in the actual maze. Unfortunately, we're not getting the one that everyone really wanted to see, which was the creature from the Black Lagoon. So yeah, guys, a lot of people wanted to see the creature from the Black Lagoon. I was kind of disappointed when we found out that we weren't going to see it either, which kind of blows because that would be a really scary monster and a really cool and detailed monster to see in this actual maze. Real quickly, I wanted to say that Murdy did state that this is their own original twist on this on the monster. So all the sculpts are different from what the actual Universal Monsters look like, just to make them more scarier. Obviously, you have the walk-around characters in the daytime, like Frankenstein and Dracula, and those aren't really as scary. So they're going to be actually pretty terrifying in the maze for Horror Nights maze, and I'm super excited for it. So let's start with how we start off in the maze. So we start off, obviously, in the plaza. It's going to be like Blumhouse last year, where they had the whole gauntlet thing. So we're going to start off in a graveyard inspired by the Highgate Cemetery. So this graveyard is basically going to introduce the story. This is where all the classic monsters rise from the dead. This is where they're all buried, and this is where they're going to rise from the dead and come back to haunt your ass, you know? That's basically the way Murdy described it, and they got a lot of inspiration from graveyards in London, I believe it was the same. And so there's a couple of pictures, of course, from HHN Mannix that really shows what the cemetery is going to kind of look like, the graveyard, which I think it's going to look really detailed, and I think that it's going to come out really nice if they pull it off well and they do it well. But just from the pictures alone, it kind of looks really, really cool. So I'm excited to see this detailed in the actual maze, and just the whole concept of Universal Monsters are buried there and this is where they're going to rise is going to be actually pretty insane and pretty cool. And I know, listening to it, I thought it was kind of crazy at first, but as they went into more details, it actually sounds really, really cool, and it's a really unique concept that Murdy and Chris have come up with. One thing that Murdy and Chris also pointed out was they got a lot of street art images from just anywhere in the world, basically, and they want to put street art, Universal Monsters street art, in the actual maze, which is cool, guys, because this is a cool inspiration for them, just seeing it on the streets. And it's true what they say, there are quite a few places that they have Universal Monster street art, which actually looks really cool, and that I think that this is going to be fit in the maze, depending on what kind of street art they do. If it comes out bad, then I don't know, it may look tacky, but from the pictures they showed, what they kind of want to do with the actual graffiti of the Universal Monsters, it's going to look really cool inside the maze. After you get through the graveyard and everything, you're going to go into a crypt where you'll encounter little Maria, the girl that Frankenstein basically drowned, and he didn't know he was drowning, but he did. So you're going to encounter little Maria there, as well as you'll encounter the Wolfman. Here is a key art of what the Wolfman is looking like, also with the actual mask sculpt, which is looking really detailed and really amazing as far as what they've shown us. So we'll go inside the crypt, kind of like the Bride of Frankenstein, and it's gonna look really cool, guys. I'm really happy that they're basing this around little Maria and the concept of her, and I think that's cool to not only incorporate the Universal Monsters, but also the characters surrounding the Universal Monsters. So that's cool. After the crypt, we're gonna get to the Frankenstein's castle. Now, once you come up to Frankenstein's castle, you're going to have angry villagers outside, which here are the key art for them. You're going to see a bunch of angry villagers just surrounding outside, interacting with the guests, just like they did with like the Purgers outside Blumhouse. That's going to be really cool and really unique. So I'm excited to see the villagers out there just interacting in general. And I think that it's a great twist, especially since there's not just going to be like one character, there's going to be multiple, and that's going to be really unique and cool. So basically the castle is going to have projection mapping to where it's going to look like it's on fire and there's going to be smoke coming out. So that makes the castle look even cooler, like the facade. Once we get into the actual maze, you're going to go into a film vault, guys. A film vault, yep, this is going to be a film vault with all like kind of based around like, oh look, here are the universal monsters and here is rising from the dead. So you'll first encounter Frankenstein inside, and inside like the actual film vault, like coming out of its own trailer. So he'll come out of a projection of a Frankenstein trailer. I'm assuming this is going to be kind of related to like Sinister, like it was last year with the projection screen. The villagers are trying to burn down the actual film vault, and Frankenstein is just going to come out and rise from the dead as described. Then we get to the Invisible Man, which we see a concept art right here. This is going to be like the Halloween maze in 2016 with a surprising name with all the skeletons. It's going to be all UV light and it's going to look so cool, guys. Like this is the Universal monster that I'm most excited seeing, because this Halloween skeletons from 2016 look so cool, and I'm so excited to see how they're going to do the Invisible Man just like the skeletons in 2016. So that is extremely exciting for me. After the Invisible Man, you're going to get to the Phantom of the Opera film, which you'll go into the Phantom's lair, and there's going to be organ music playing, which is cool, suits well. And here is the actual art for the Phantom of the Opera, and here's the sculpt that is currently being worked on right now. I know they said they took inspiration from The Dark Knight, obviously Two-Face, and that's honestly what it looks like. And the Phantom of the Opera looks cool without a doubt. He looks really detailed and doesn't look tacky at all, which I kind of was afraid, because I thought this was going to look a little tacky like the Phantom of the Opera. But the way that they showed it, the way that they described it, it's not the case. It's going to look really unique and detailed. After the Phantom of the Opera, you will come into the Blood Feast of Dracula and his bride. So obviously you're going to come into the banquet room, and I'm excited to see this because there's going to be multiple characters in there, and it's kind of exciting. Like I don't know. There's something that I like about big rooms with multiple characters, like with Texas Chainsaw, where they had Grandpa obviously beating the guy down, and then Leatherface would come out of nowhere, and there was a big table in the room and everything. Like I really like that room, and I think that's gonna be similar to this, like the banquet hall. And obviously you're gonna see Dracula and all his brides. Here is the actual art for Dracula, and here's the mask sculpt of what they're currently working on. Also, we're gonna see his brides, like I said, so they wanted a basis around Carrie. So they wanted a lot of blood, and right here is we see the art of the actual bride, and here is the sculpt. So as you can see from the art, it's there's a lot of blood, and they did show, if you notice, you can roll this video back, but it gives it sort of that like bat feel, because you know Dracula is a bat. He's a vampire, so. I think that's a cool little like detailed touch to it. After that, you will go into the collection room, where obviously you'll encounter Renfield, and this collection room looks detailed. There's not really much I can say about this right now, just because of the key art that they've showed. There's really not much detail I can go into it, but there's that. And then you'll encounter the Mummy. Here is the key art for the Mummy, and or the concept art. Here is the actual sculpt for the Mummy. So different from the actual walk around Mummy, obviously at Universal. And I'm really excited for this version of the Mummy. He looks terrified, guys. And in the panel they described that mummification is not a like, oh, easy way to die. It's more of like a painful agony way to die. So they wanted to make the Mummy like kind of screaming, but in a more terrifying way, as we saw in the concept art, and that's exactly what it looks like, which I'm excited for. You'll come into the lab, which is essentially the last scene that you'll see in this Universal Monsters maze, where you'll encounter Frankenstein's assistant, and you'll encounter the Bride of Frankenstein, and you'll obviously encounter Frankenstein himself again. So here's the key art for the actual lab, and here is the concept art for Frankenstein's assistant, and here is the actual maze sculpt, or the maze sculpt, the mask sculpt of Frankenstein's assistant. So I think Frankenstein's assistant is one of the ones that I'm really excited to see too. Obviously, just the detail of it looks really, really unique and really cool, and I'm excited to see like him, just like how they do like the hunched over part of him, and the actual detail in his face, because there's a lot of detail in this mask and the art. So obviously we exit the maze. There's a couple more minor details I'm not going to get into, but you can go rewatch the panel on my channel. Go check it out. You know, I uploaded the panel. All right, go check it out. And so here is the lineup for the Monster Masquerade actors. So we're gonna encounter basically like all the same monsters that we did in the maze, just dressed up in like masquerade attire. So like Frankenstein with like the little mask on. Here is the concept art for the Hunchback of Notre Dame costume and mask. So I'm not going to really go into a lot of detail of Monster Masquerade. Obviously you can go watch the panel. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to end it here and say, wow guys, that was so much freaking information from the Scarlet panel, which I'm thrilled for this maze even more now. And obviously Slash being a part of it, and there being 19 different tracks for the maze, that's crazy guys. So I'm super excited for this maze to come to Halloween Horror Nights this year, and I can't wait to experience, guys. You don't know how excited I am for Horror Nights. We are so close. We are like 2.5 weeks away, and I've been waiting so long for this freaking event to come back, and I miss it so much. So I can't wait for September 14th. That's opening night, guys. With that being said, if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you aren't subscribed, welcome to my channel. My name is Scott from SoCalExploring. Subscribe down below, and if you are subscribed, click that bell button to be notified every time that I upload, and every time that and you can be one of the first to interact with my videos. Make sure to follow SoCalExploring Team down below, all trying to help me build this brand. Positivity is key, guys. Jump over those negative barriers in life, and you'll get somewhere in life, reach your goal, because at the end of the day, we should all stay positive and not negative. I love you all. Keep on exploring parks. Peace.